For this project, I would like to teach you how to draw some cartooning, and specifically manga. I'm often asked about cartooning, and often this style. But before we get into this, I want you to understand a little bit of the history and how the style developed. Follow me. Come on, let's go. If we are going to start drawing in the style of manga, then you have to know just a little background. Trust me, it will help a lot. Let's go back to the 11th century in Japan when artists were painting on scrolls. One artist, actually artist and priest, named Toba Soho, started drawing cartoons using animals. And apparently these crazy little animals were representing priests. Pretty funny. Don't get me wrong. There are plenty of other cartoons being created, but this artist's style really stood out since he had such a great sense of humor. For the sake of time, let's fast forward again to the 19th century and the awesome work of Hokusai. Yeah, you might recognize some of his black belt woodblock prints, such as this one. These were part of a large series he did consisting of 36 different views of Mount Fuji. What you probably have never seen are Hokusai's sketches. Take a look. He also had a great sense of humor and really tried to capture different facial expressions. Of course, if you know anything about manga today, facial expressions are incredibly important. You sure can learn a lot from an artist's sketchbook, can't you? Hokusai was also the first artist to use the term manga, which, by the way, simply means playful sketches. I don't know about you, but it fits really well with this loose brush-like strokes you often see in manga. Let's fast forward once again to post-World War II in 1947, just after the Japanese Constitution was signed, which prohibited all forms of censorship. As you might imagine, this meant a huge growth in the art community with this newfound freedom of expression. One of the most influential artists to rise up during this time was Tezuka Osamu. Let me put it this way, he was like the Godfather of manga, or better yet, like the Walt Disney of Japanese animation. Seriously, millions and millions still love his work, even today. Tezuka created a character called Mighty Atom, or Astro Boy, which was wildly popular. You really start to see more of the classic manga characteristics developing in his work, right? What Tezuka did was genius. It was during this time that movies from France, Germany, and the US were finally being played in Japan. Tezuka, who watched these movies, loved the way they were filmed. So he took the same ideas in movie making and applied them to his drawings. All of a sudden, everything moved from flat, 2D images to these dynamic, realistic perspectives, focusing on expression and emotion. He also created his cartoons so that they read like a movie, scene by scene. He was so successful, he completed over 700 volumes with more than 150,000 sketches. Man, talk about a hard worker. What further amazes me is he goes back to school and he earns a degree in medicine. Why, you ask? Great question. Just as DaVinci did, this area of study made his manga even more realistic. We will come back to that important detail in just a few minutes. The other artist I have to mention is Machiko Hasegawa, a female artist who created an amazing manga character. She knew after the war, women needed a model for strength, experience, determination, someone who could show what everyday life was like, and that's exactly what she did. Hasegawa's manga sold over 62 million copies over 50 years. It's because of these two amazing artists that two different styles began to emerge. One is called shoujo, which represents female strength, determination, leadership, and focus on daily life. The other category is shonen, which is aimed at males, such as the Astro Boy series. Now that you have a very basic background on manga, let's start sketching. Follow me. Let's take a look at what we're going to need. For this manga style project, one thing we're going to need is paper. The next thing is just a simple pencil. And you're probably going to want an eraser to erase those lines once we start sketching. The next thing is some specific markers that have a style for manga, and they're the ones that almost look kind of like a brush. I've got 3 different markers, And one of the two markers actually has a very fine tip. The next thing we're gonna need is one of these. It's really just like a wooden scale model. This is a really small travel size edition, which I really like. And then of course, I've got this bad boy in my own house. If you've got room to set it up, it's nice because I can really see it. Before you get ready to sketch, I would take some time moving this wooden figure around. You want to be able to get it, kind of in a position that you're going to feel comfortable drawing. One of my favorite things about this that you need to pay attention to are basic shapes. Check these out. Simple circles, simple ovals. It's the most simplistic way to start learning how to draw not only manga, but the human figure. To get started, let's sketch out our basic shapes. Don't forget to get the wooden model just the way you would like it. And remember, you need to sketch lightly, just in case you mess up and need to erase. Now let's take the big, thick brush style marker and let's outline all of our pencil. Now remember, try to remain fluid, keep it loose. After that, let's go ahead and take the eraser and let's erase all of those lines so we're left with some clean paper. This is where you're really going to be able to see if you use that pencil really lightly. After creating some big brush style lines, I like to use this thin marker and add some hatching lines, just, some small details here and there. To finish things up, I love using this gray marker. Try to look for some areas where some shadows are going to be. It's really great to add some contrast into your picture. I'm going to stop there for now, but as you can see, as the further I develop this idea, the cleaner and better it's going to look. Remember, you've got to keep practicing. You can't learn this style overnight. A lot of practice will get you a black belt in manga. And don't forget that try using these different kinds of markers. It really helps you out and being able to do some thick to thin lines. And the most important thing, remember, keep the pen light in your hand and keep it fluid. Until next time, remember, be creative, be innovative, and be outrageous. We would love to see what you create. Share your projects with us on Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook by using #OutrageousNate.